Welcome to Lessons for Life and welcome to Weird Wednesdays. This is the first of an experiment. Every week, in the middle of the week, we will try something a bit different, do something a little bit off the radar, a little bit esoteric, a little bit paranormal. And that's why we've got Mac on this evening. Mythological, there's a good word. Exactly. All the things that we kind of don't know enough about, the unexplained, the inexplicable. And tonight we're going all the way back to ancient Egypt. Why are we going there, Mac? Why? Yeah, okay, well, Sumeria, which is not Egypt. That's Babylon, not. Is it not?
It is before Babylon. It's Sumeria. It's the north of Iran, like in more closer to Iraq. But
okay,
it's way before Babylon. It's ancient.
Geographically, we're talking about modern day Iraq, but we're also going to look at some of ancient Egypt as well, because we've got Thoth, who was an Egyptian god, no?
Yes, he was, but for some reason, it was on the tablets that they found in Sumer. So in Sumerian texts, they found things relating to Thoth.
Okay. If anyone wants to join the discussion, two options. Call 07491 751 203. You'll get straight through. The better option, if we trust you, is to click the link on the description in YouTube, and you'll come straight through to us and get you on the screen, and you can be famous. So we've got already Amir Reza here. Brilliant. Welcome. Hi, Julian. Hello, Amir. And share it around, Amir. Share it around so we can turn this into much more of an open discussion. And on Wednesdays, the lucky thing about talking about the paranormal or the esoteric, there's no right or wrong answer. And then we'll tell you the right answer after a while. So shall we have a look at this clip that you wanted to play?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the name of this chap who's being interviewed? He's an expert on this ancient esoteric mythology.
Yeah, he's done. Well, first of all, he's done looked at Zacharias stitching. Looked at Zacharias. So he has a good, thorough background knowledge. His name is Billy Carson, and he talks about I think it's called the Enuma Elish tablet, which is the Sumerian tablet.
Okay. We will talk about that in just a moment. Well, let's get him on. But you keep talking about Sumeria. I thought this is ancient Egypt.
Well, it's a Sumerian tablet. It's called I
can't believe they had tablets in those days. Right, let's have a little look. Boom.
Thoth is an ancient Atlantean priest king. This is what he was called back then. He was also the son of Enki, which was an Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki and the Atlanteans are really one and the same, I should say.
Anunnaki came from another planet called Nibiru.
Right, from another planet named Nibiru, and also other star systems as well, not just Nibiru. They came from multiple star systems, which is one of the things that I talk about in the book. But Thoth himself was basically the bringer of knowledge and wisdom to mankind. And he was ordered by his dad to go around the planet and kickstart civilization all over the planet. And after the Great Flood, he was told to bring back civilization to a higher level. And where he was then told to take his crew with him and go out and start off in the land of Kim, which is ancient Egypt before it was called Egypt.
Doesn't Thoth have that bird-like look to him?
Yes. He looks like a bird, like he's got that bird beak, but he's really not a bird man. The bird is the symbol of the ibis beak. And the reason why they chose that symbolization for Thoth is because an ibis bird has to dig its beak deep into the mud to bring up sustenance. So the symbology is basically saying he's going into darkness to bring darkness to light.
Well, let's take a look at Thoth.
The trail of the occult begins in Egypt 5,000 years ago. Just before the rise of Egypt's great pharaohs, hieroglyphics or pictographs were invented. Egyptians used them to document their history and religion, and to practice complex systems of astronomy, astrology, and geometry. They believed their powerful knowledge came from the god Thoth.
Thoth, or Tahuti, was the Egyptian god of magic. And more than just the god of magic, he was the god of writing, of astronomy, of mathematics and science. He invented language, he invented writing.
Only priests with special training were allowed access to Thoth's sacred knowledge. Imhotep, builder of the first pyramid, was one of the chosen.
Thoth was considered to be the one who gave us writing and numbers and the arts of self-cultivation through works of consciousness. Some people thought he was a person who was then deified through his accomplishments. Other people feel that this has been a mythical entity from the beginning.
Legends held that a book of magic written by Thoth contained the secrets of the gods.
The Book of Thoth was actually considered to be in the astral plane. Not a physical thing, but something that you had to actually travel in consciousness to arrive at. And so this is probably one of those very old incidences of channeling where an individual would get into a special state of mind, contact the Thoth energy wherever it was to be found, and then be tutored by this multilingual, multi-code kind of consciousness.
Wow, there you go. And we've got the Ankh here on the page of the book that we were looking at with Andre McIntyre. He couldn't be here tonight, but we've got Mac. And look, Mac, it is ancient Egypt, isn't it? Why do you keep saying Sumerian? What's the connection here?
There's a tablet that was found called Enuma Elish. Do you want me to spell it for you?
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah. Okay. So the actual tablet, the tablet was called the Tablet of, I think it's
We've got it for you on the screen. The Enuma Elish, also known as the Seven Tablets of Creation, is the Mesopotamian creation myth whose title is derived from the opening lines of the piece "When on high," because I got high. All of the tablets containing the myth found at Ashur Kish. Right, so there is a link then between ancient Iraq and ancient Babylon. That video we just saw said it was an Atlantean deity.
Yeah,
are we talking about Atlantis and the ancient, the lost civilization,
city,
which of course would have been in the Atlantic Ocean, right? And I know there's a lot of people that make connections about Ireland and the lost civilization of Atlantis, and now the Irish, the Atlanteans. This goes back to ancient Egypt, and anyone that's watched this channel has probably heard me mention that the Scots and the Irish, who were both referred to as the Scoti, have a origin myth of going back to the daughter of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh called Scotia rather. So is there a connection from the ancient Atlantic civilization, Atlantis, that was lost, to Ireland, to the Phoenicians even, that would have been beyond Egypt up in the Mediterranean? And
I think Phoenicians came after though. The Phoenicians were after.
But could this be the connection between Babylon and Egypt? And this is, of course, the Holy Land.
Okay, now in the Quran, can I just add, in the Quran, it says that the two angels that came down to Babylon, meaning Sumerian, and that they were, the angels were called Harut and Marut, who taught voodoo or black magic. Yeah.
Voodoo.
And, so all this black magic, because you saw a serpent. If you notice in that video, we also, as well as seeing the pictures of, we always see the serpent, and we always talk about the serpent. So this is from, if you looking at it from that aspect, you can see that this.
I think Mac is struggling with his connection. Phil Fence is saying, I recommend watching the Magical Egypt John Anthony West series. We'll definitely have a look at that. And he's picking up on the apocryphal story I mentioned. An Egyptian queen fled to Ireland. Yeah, I think it was a princess, Scotia. And this is why Ireland became known as Scotia Major, and Scotland became known as Scotia Minor. And if you look at the bagpipes and some of the traditional dancing and musical instruments, you can see a common link all the way down that Atlantic coast. We've said it before, in the Basque region, in Galicia, all the way down to Morocco, and the Berber people, and North Africa and Tunisia would have been a Phoenician civilization at some point. There's questions whether or not Venice actually means the Phoenicians. I did say to George Galloway on his TV show that Venice comes from the Phoenicians, but that might not actually be true. But it might be true. But there is a great connection between these Mediterranean civilizations, these Phoenicians who were from the land of Canaan.
It's the black magic I was telling you, Horus and Marut. So they taught the Sumerians, and then obviously the Sumerians taught the Egyptians. That's how the magic traveled to, well, should we say Africa? Because in the Quran it says Horus and Marut were the two angels that came down with a disclaimer saying that we will teach you this rituals, but just know that performing these rituals, you are entering into the gates of hell.
Amazing. And that was Thoth we were talking about. Let's get these details up on the screen. Thoth has played a prominent role in many of the Egyptian myths, in the Osiris myth being of a great aid to that particular god. And this mythology also credits him with the creation of the 365-day calendar. Originally, according to the myth, the year was only 360 days long, and Nut was sterile during the rest of the time and unable to bear children. That's great. So you've talked before about the circle and these 5 days.
Well,
wow,
I believe,
amazing.
I believe that, sorry, I just need to get the laptop charger. I believe that the 360 is obviously created as a calendar, but this is what I was trying to explain to you. But those days, the rotation of the Earth could have been different as well. The days could have been longer, so it could have been a little bit different because of
there could have been some cataclysmic event.
Well, yeah, the Earth is apparently slanted on its side because of the. But yeah, so now looking at this picture, this is Thoth on the left, and I think Horus would be the middle one, and Osiris.
And that cross that they're holding is the ancient symbol. It's actually quite a rude symbol if you read up what it could be about. And all of these gods and goddesses seem to be related to fertility and this sort of thing, and the idea of when you can procreate and when you can't.
Yes,
and of course, the moon comes into it as well. This is a solar calendar, but the moon dictates the month. And thousands of years ago, when we were more in touch with the moon and the moon cycle, women's monthly cycles would have been in cohesion with the moon.
Yep.
Give peace a chance of saying, I've read in ancient Egypt, south was north and north was south. I believe that
happened. That did happen. That's basically
the ancient Holy Land near Ethiopia. Well, okay, they do talk about Upper Egypt, meaning further up the Nile. So for that civilization, I mean, we talk. I don't know why north is up. It's arbitrary, isn't it?
You do know the Earth's magnetic field that flipped. There was once or twice that the magnetic fields of the Earth have flipped. So give peace a chance was right, because that has happened in the past. So
do you think that's what he's talking about? You don't think he's just talking about the source of the river, and you go upstream, and if it's flowing from Sudan through Egypt, Upper Egypt is nearer the source of the river. I mean, why is north up? It's only because we live in the northern hemisphere that we think of it as being.
Well, you do know when you get a compass, it only points towards north anyway. You do know that, right?
Magnetic north.
Magnetic north, yeah.
It only points to north. I mean, where else would it point?
No, I'm just saying that it's not really that there is no magnetic field towards the south. It's only It's only
yeah,
towards the
okay.
north.
Just it's the lack of magnetic field to the south that
Yeah.
allows a compass to perform what it does. Bill Fence is saying Cleopatra was born closer to our time than to the start of ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Wow, that shows you just how long they ruled, almost as long as the dinosaurs. And
So
we talked about Cleopatra the other day with our Gal Gadot debacle. Was she Greek, Macedonian, Middle Eastern, or I don't know what? Who cares? Go on, Mac.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, looking at Thoth, going back to Thoth now, the story is that he introduced writing. He introduced also, well, I think he was apparently known for the first to write, or to be educating us in that way.
Okay.
So yeah, he was one of the first people to create, you could say, a witchcraft book where they cast spells, or you know how when they actually spell. Yes, a book like that, for example. Yes.
Yeah.
Ritual books.
Ritualistic books. And Bill Fence is pointing out that Polaris is celestial north, true north. So you've got magnetic north, but that's to do with something north in the earth, right? Celestial north and true north, or geographic. I mean, the North Pole has been decided as a geographical point, I imagine. Is there actually a pole there?
It's flipped. It's flipped apparently a few times. I don't know if you've heard about that. The magnetic field has throughout history.
And how do we know that?
Well,
where's your evidence for that?
Yeah, I got to back it up. No, the evidence for that would be, I mean, if you listen to Billy Carlson, he explains the Enuma Elish tablet, which is the 7 tablets of creation. So that gives us a better understanding. So when he talks about Thoth being a prominent role in like the Egyptian myths, because obviously, as you see, there's the 7 tablets of creation, or Mesopotamia. So Thoth was basically the one who was introducing, the inventor of writing, the creator of language, and rituals.
Wow. And I refer you back then to the Phoenicians, because of course the Phoenicians are where we get the term phonetic, as in a phonetic alphabet, an alphabet that is spelt the way it sounds. If only we had one of those. And phonics, meaning sound. And of course, from that you get the telephone, which is a Greek word. In the myth of Osiris, who became prominent about 2350 BCE, Horus was the son of Osiris, and the other god was the nephew of Seth, of Osiris's brother. When Seth murdered Osiris and contested Horus's heritage, the royal throne of Egypt. Yeah, now a lot of this is apocryphal, isn't it? Is this actual history? Is this mythology? This is that period in time that sort of bridges the gap between history and mythology, and it's a lot. I know it's a lot of speculation, isn't it?
It is. But I mean, the victors write history, don't they?
So who were the losers in this case? Was there a civilization that wiped out that might have told us something different?
Well, that's the thing. Because the Sumerian text is infinite, I think they call it Abjad or Amjad before. So basically, if Thoth is the first person to make, he's the inventor of writing and the creator of language. So for him, he probably started the first, because the initial first book would be a magic book, and that's ways to how to spell a cast or cast a spell. Sorry, and how to perform the rituals, how to channel. That's the thing that the lady spoke about, which I always speak about. Now, channeling yourself, drinking alcohol is a form of channeling yourself, because when you actually drink the spirit, hence the etymology of the word spirit, also refers to spirit world as well as alcohol. So the first way you can channel yourself to well, the guy in Egypt's time they used to do it Thoth, but nowadays you can actually channel yourself. But this is what I was trying to highlight. So nowadays, because we're so into our cyber world, we've kind of lost touch with that kind of ability. Whereas the ancient secret Egyptians and the Sumerians, they didn't have technology to distract them. So they were left
not only that, we're losing touch with how to speak to people, how to interact as a human being.
They had an extrasensory perception, I would call it, and that because they didn't have TV to keep them occupied. So therefore, they would use
the art of conversation
their
is becoming a lost kind of knowledge. People don't interact on a person-to-person basis anymore. And now that we're all covered up, when we go into shops, we're even that little bit more removed from human interaction. There might be good reason for that, or maybe it's to save our lives. But there is a cost to everything, and this drifting away, and this has been happening for thousands of years, as the family went from extended family to the so-called nuclear family, and now so many broken families. We've gone from a cohesive unit. People used to live with several generations in the same home. People used to live in tribes, in nations and tribes, and then
they still do.
It's become we've been broken down just into individuals that don't relate that well to other people. And I think we do need to engage with people. We should greet strangers and engage in that sort of small talk. This is being lost for whatever reason.
The prophet always says a smile is more than enough. Just to smile at someone is in itself. It's a rewarding action, shall we say? So even a smile, it doesn't cost anything to do a smile.
We don't smile do that. At someone. Nowadays, we just hit the like button, which I encourage you all to do, by the way. The Book of the Dead, Bill Fence is saying. Mac, do you know anything about the Book of the Dead? Is that
he's talking about the Tibetan? The Tibetan.
Oh god, we can't go all the way to Tibet yet. The Orion mystery, how the pyramids of Giza mirror the star constellation Orion's belt. It's on Orion's belt. Remember Men in Black when the little
can I just explain what people need to understand? For example, the Aztecs, or should we call them the Mayans? They worshipped nothing but time. For them, that's why they made it. I mean, even though the 2012 was it
2012, I thought we were all going to die. The 2012, the Mayan calendar.
That was something obviously wrong, but in general, they worship nothing but time and the way the stars move and all the how the astrology is and how. So to them, that was important. Whereas for us, we go into an office, we jump in our car, we come into our house, we pay no attention to these things anymore. Whereas in the olden days, they would use them as guides sometimes because they could follow a certain star, or you see what I mean? And
stand by, Mac, because we've got a call. I'm going to try and merge the sound. I hope, caller, you'll hear us. You're through. What do you make of all this ancient myth? Oh, that sounds like the Turk. Any ancient Turkish mythology we should know about, Turk?
I'm not sure about any ancient Turkish mythology.
You're not far from Egypt.
There was a prophecy of a orange man with blonde hair rescuing the greatest country in the world, but evil devils tried to steal it away from him, and that will not happen. 1776 will rise again.
Thank you, Turk. We appreciate your input in all this. One trick pony, but it's a good trick. Nice one. Thank you.
All right.
That's Donald J. Trump's biggest fan. We will go back to Donald Trump eventually, and work out whether he's going to try and is it steal the election or was he frauded out of it? I don't know. But there's Turk talking about demons and demonic and satanic.
Jinn.
I think it's something we all believe in it, don't we? To some level.
Well,
I mean,
as I said, for example, Zoroaster, the actual guy who started Zoroastrian religion, he was, again, like Buddha, he came to an enlightenment. Now, what he said, this is where the word good, if you take one of the O away, that's every action that God would do. So anything.
Who said that? Who said that? If you take one letter out of good, you get God.
Well, I can't remember. It was.
Don't tell me it's Zoroaster because this is English and they didn't. I don't think Zoroaster spoke English.
I'm not talking. I'm not. No. I'm not talking about Zoroaster in general. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, but Zoroaster came up with the idea of anything good is attributed to God, and anything bad is attributed to the devil. So any actions that you do. He said,
Zoroastrianism is very dualistic, good and bad God, in equal parts, right? Very sort of yin and yang to for one.
So basically, to put it differently, correctly, is every action that you do is good would be attributed to God, and everything that you do bad would be to the devil. Now, again, in etymology, this is not to do with Zoroaster, obviously. Now, taking it away, from the word good, that's what God would do. Is everything good is God, and then anything.
Do you believe
evil,
these things that the devil is devaluing you and spell is
anything
spelling?
evil, anything evil is because of the devil. You put a D instead of in front of the E. So think about it, evil, and you put a D in front of it, and it becomes devil. So this is a coincidence of the English language, man. This is not true in other languages. There must be something to it. In etymology, there must be something to it.
I wonder why.
Well, all right. So why did John Lennon learn how to speak backwards? Why was that really? Why is that a thing? Why do people like to learn? You see what I'm saying?
You mean
like
Nolel Nodge? That guy.
Well, you do it as well.
I'm trying to. Why did he try to learn backwards? What is the significance of saying things backwards? Tell me what you're getting at.
I don't know.
What does it mean?
In words are powerful, and how you use them. So, as well as the sound frequency can affect you, words can affect equally as well. So, it's a matter of understanding. This is where the spelling, the cast, or it all initiated with Thoth. He decided to show them how symbology, how to perform. Again, it's all channeling. It's to do with channeling. So
is it a coincidence if you add an L to the word you get world? Hard to say that sometimes. Give me a chance. I can tell the time by the position of the sun. So it's possible.
Sundial.
Without calendars, people can know the weeks by looking at the moon. And other people used to find water in the desert by sniffing sand. Can't do that these days.
In the olden days, they had this special device where it actually tells them not only time, but all where the planets are, where the alignments of the stars are. Let me find out what that device was. But yeah, they used to have some sort of it was a calendar for the olden days. I'll find out what it's called. But yeah.
I'm intrigued by this Egyptian calendar that they mentioned that said the years were 360 and then 5 days where nothing much was happening, and they thought the goddess was infertile in these days. The chaps we had on the other evening for a discussion about the Baha'i faith, which originated out of Iran, or you might say Persia. I happen to know in that religion, their calendar consists of 19 months of 19 days, which I think adds up to 360 61, and then they have 4 what they call intercalendary days, or ayam eha, meaning the days in between. So there's some mirroring, as much as this is portrayed as a very new religion, with some of the ancient Egyptian calendar. Amazing. Bill Fence is saying, I can navigate north and south. Bill Gates, did I say Bill Gates?
Astrolope. Have you heard of Astrolope?
Sounds like the type of person you could leave in the woods and he would survive. But only on an amateur level. That's all right. Nothing wrong with amateur. I'm a multi-amateur champion. Go on, Mac. Basically.
You see what I've written that thing on the screen. Can you Google it and see if you can get a picture of that on the screen?
I can't see what you've got on the screen at the moment. We haven't reached that level yet.
The chat in the chat, I've written it.
I think you've written it in the private comments. Let's have a look at part 2 of the video.
Basically, just to give you an idea, they used to have this device.
Technology these days.
They
gold
used to
medal.
use. Well, no, there was different types of it, and that's what I'm saying. If you can Google, it's called Astrolope. Yeah?
Just Google it.
If you can, sorry. It's obviously Astro and then Labe, Astrolope.
Astro meaning the universe, something like that, stars. Let's have a look at part 2 and find out a little bit more about Thoth.
What kind of a creature was this?
Well, he was really a very special being. He wasn't a Homo sapien like us, because according to the ancient tablets, we came along much, much later in the geological time scale.
We may have been seeded by them, right?
Yes. Well, I really think that they are like our cousins, and we look like them. I think that Homo sapien are the new kids on the block, and that these ancient beings, these beings of old, were here many, many millions of years ago, and had developed technologies to extend their lifespans for many tens of thousands of years.
What was Thoth's role? What was its purpose?
Well, this is where we get the word thought from. So he was the bringer of knowledge and wisdom to mankind. All the different languages on the planet, he was ordered to teach all the different languages, to teach the civilizations how to develop different levels of technology. And also he was the master architect of the pyramid structures all over this entire planet. That was one of the key roles. As a matter of fact, in the Emerald Tablets, he says himself, he built the Great Piece. I built the Great Pyramid. So he developed the Great Pyramid and that technology. And then after they rose the land of Kim back to a higher level of civilization, he told the people that came along with him, his crew members, to spread out all over the planet and duplicate exactly what they did there.
Billy, did he have a lifespan? I mean, how long did he live?
These beings are capable of living for tens of thousands of years. He talks about going into this place called the Halls of Amenti, which is underneath the Great Pyramid. That's where he put it. And that recently those rooms have been discovered down there, by the way. But anyway, he goes into these regeneration chambers where he takes an avatar body, then he puts into a regeneration chamber and leaves it in there for 100 years. While he walks amongst men in another avatar body. This is why he had so many different names and so many different looks over many eons, because he was utilizing these avatar bodies.
But it's the same him.
It's the same him. He transfers his consciousness from his avatar body to the next one that's regenerated, and he puts that depleted avatar body, either he gets rid of it or puts it back into a rejuvenation chamber and regenerates that one again. So they have done this for tens of thousands of years.
Isn't that what we're trying to do now with cryogenics? And by downloading memory, so you can put it into a different body and you live forever?
Well, we've gone even a step further than cryogenics now. They've just developed the first DNA hard drive, Microsoft has. So you can take 1 gram of DNA can store 433 petabytes of data. So they discovered that it can store digital bits of zeros and ones and information. So they've created a digital DNA hard drive, which was the biggest limitation on transferring consciousness. So now we have the capability of transferring consciousness into a storage capacity. And then, with now the creation of the ability to create avatars from stem cells, we can literally take a skin cell from your body, put it under the right chemical conditions in a laboratory, create a clone of you up to whatever age specified, and then transfer your consciousness from your body, your mind, into that new avatar.
Wow. I mean, there's an individual who sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and he's saying, on the one hand, this mythological character Thoth was such and such, like he really believes it, which might not be exactly historical, but he's also talking about cloning, and he's got a immense understanding of biology, I suppose. This is someone who is bridging that gap in knowledge, isn't he, of the esoteric, the mythological, and proper stuff.
But if you
And,
notice, if he said something, what we're trying to do now, achieve, is what they were trying to do then. Because now, if you see, we are trying to, for example, in Coachella, they brought back Tupac as a hologram. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what they're
there's
trying,
been a lot of holograms recently. Kim Kardashian's dad, for one. Tupac. What is it with?
See, this
who was it brought
transfer of
Tupac back?
consciousness.
Was that Snoop Dogg?
This is
that.
I don't know, but again, I was just going back to the transfer of the consciousness. So what computers are designed to do now is they take in your consciousness, as in your reaction, the way you talk and the way you carry yourself, and then obviously that's transferred, and then later on in future your grandkids can ask to see your hologram, and then you would appear with. So that's the future, apparently.
But it's not really you, is it? Did you ever watch the great comedy series Red Dwarf?
Yeah, I remember the Red Dwarf.
Science fiction set in the future, 8 million years or whatever. Is one of the best characters is Arnold J. Rimmer, who is actually a hologram of one of the dead members of the crew. And it always bothered me because, as much as, I mean, it's only a fictional story, but if it's just a hologram, it's not really him. It was just an exact copy of this guy with all his terribly annoying traits that wound up the rest of the crew members. But it's not really him, is it? And when we did the piece on Kim Kardashian's late father being brought back as a hologram, we did reflect upon the hadith that mentions one day the Antichrist will show you your father, and what appears to be your father will say, "Don't you remember me, Tarifuni? Do you know me?" This will be a false image, deceiver, the Antichrist, the great deceiver, Dajjal. So, are these religious predictions about this kind of technology? Is it a coincidence? Is there anything?
Well, they're trying to connect human to technology, as in they're trying to microchip us. What was
it's me, so it is. Who seems to have a devil pitchfork for a picture? They're saying they're dead, Dave. They're dead, Dave.
What was the Black Mirror about?
I don't know what Black Mirror is about, but this guy knows his Red Dwarf. Dave Lister wakes up after 3 million years, and Holly's telling him they're all dead, Dave. He's like, what? Even Kachansky, even Peterson, they're all dead, Dave. They're all dead. I love that. I love that series. It's one of those comedies that went on and on and on and on, and probably should have stopped a while ago. But it's like a football team. If you support it, you want them to do well. Bill Fence is saying transferring your consciousness could run the risk of enslaving your soul. No? Deep. Yeah. The price of your soul, selling your soul to the devil. That's what we used to see in a lot of cartoons. I think Bart Simpson sells his soul to the devil.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Have you know? I know that we're kind of going away from the subject, but I just want to point out there are people not transferring their consciousness, but I think they're putting themselves to sleep in ice. They're freezing themselves, and then they want to.
Walt Disney did that, didn't he?
Is that what he's done?
Cryogenically frozen.
And then they're going to try and bring him back to life once the technologies arrive to be able to bring. Well, I don't know if they can, but that's. But again, whether
he hated children.
Sorry.
Apparently, Walt Disney hated children. Ironically,
did he?
So I've been told, and there's a lot of weird messages in those great films we used to love. But this is the thing: if you were cloned, and your clone had the exact same identity and memory as you, that clone will feel equally like they are you as you.
Would the clone actually have the same consciousness and experiences as you?
Would it, or would it appear to? Would it be a soulless individual? You'd have to ask Dolly the sheep. This was, of course, the first successful clone that we're told about. And how would you know that you are not the clone?
That's the thing.
It's me. So it is saying brain turns to mush. No chance. It's me. So it is. I just have to ask. It's me. So it is.
I swear they got Einstein's brain in a jar somewhere in a lab or something. Yeah, they do have.
I've been to Einstein's house in Switzerland, but he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't in when we did knock for him, but he'd been dead many years. Yeah, Einstein, was he that intelligent, or was it just a freak show? I don't know.
Well, you know what they say. Apparently, he used to lose his way home. Like he used to go deep in thought, and sometimes he would actually lose his way.
Some people have immense intelligence but lack any common sense. And I used to dabble in a little bit of magic, not the dark arts, but just like mentalism and the card tricks. And there's a trick famously known as the trick that fooled Einstein. And without giving away any of the magic circle secrets, not that I'm part of it, it's actually a very basic magic trick that is portrayed as a kind of a mathematical trick, and you end up appearing to know the amount of coins in a bowl when someone has removed an amount of them. And Einstein was thinking too big when he was trying to understand how it could be done. It's done in a clever magician's way, but it's nothing to do with any sort of complex mathematics. And he was thinking it was some kind of fake bowl or some kind of artificial coins. He was looking in all the wrong places. So there's many different types of intelligence, I think. And Bill Fence is saying, someone asked Einstein, what's it like being the smartest man on earth? Einstein said, ask Nikola Tesla. Yeah,
that's true.
So how come we hear more about the other one than him?
You know, Nikola Tesla had an electric remote control boat for electricity. Can you believe that?
And Owen Keeling, who is playing catch up, watching us in fast forward, is now only 15 minutes behind. Come on, Owen, catch up with us. Time travel on the YouTube. And Amir Reza is back. Where did you go, Amir? There's no excuse for missing Weird Wednesdays.
It's his birthday, by the way.
We got to say a big happy birthday to Amir Reza Bani Hashemi, who turns 16 today. Something like that.
Something. He doesn't even know. He doesn't.
No, one of them ones. 1st of January, was it?
He's lost the count.
No problem. Give Peace a chance of saying that trick was on Penn and Teller. Fool us. I can't remember if it tricked them. Okay. I would imagine it didn't, if they are as well established as they appear to be. I saw Penn and Teller live once. Absolutely incredible. But it reiterates the fact that a great magician will always be able to trick a scientist in a certain way, but it doesn't mean that they are dabbling in the dark arts.
I went to see Paul Daniels, by the way.
Paul Daniels.
Right? I swear he was great with Debbie.
Did he pull a great with Debbie? What first attracted her to the millionaire Paul Daniels?
At the time that I was young, when I went, was when they were doing sewing. He was sewing Debbie in half, for example. Those type of tricks, and Paul Daniels was good as well. I wonder what's happened to him. He's quiet.
He's passed away, Mac. I'm sorry to tell you.
Did he? I wasn't even aware.
And if he does come back, that'll be the greatest magic trick for 2,000 years. Give Peace a chance saying, Julian, do you know how the coin trick works? Tell us, please. I can't reveal it give peace. A magician
What do you
never
mean
tells.
coin trick?
But
What when you
so
put out
there is
by the air?
a coin trick. No, I think he's talking about the trick that fooled Einstein. Which, if you are interested in learning it, Richard Osterlind does a version of it. A great mentalist from America, and if you buy his DVD, he'll tell you. But it's like anything. You will be disappointed. You'll be like, oh, what? I can't believe I fell for that. And it's similar to never meet your heroes. Have you ever met one of your heroes, Matt, and been disappointed and thought, oh, is that it?
No. Ronaldo, the fat one, a Brazilian one. I met
Brazilian
him.
Ronaldo. Did you?
Yeah. But the funny thing
Where?
is, it was in Sainsbury's in Chelsea, and the funny thing is, I noticed his wife first, and I was drawn to his wife, and I was with my cousin, and my cousin was like, Mac, there's Ronaldo, and I'm like, yo, look at that girl, not knowing it's his wife.
Wow.
And then I looked round to see what my cousin was at, and then I saw Ronaldo, and I quickly ran up to it, because he's my favorite player after Maradona.
R9, really?
After obviously Maradona, yeah, because the nutmegs he used to do were amazing. He was a king of nutmegging. You got to admit, when he used to.
Yeah, it's amazing now that kids these days don't realize that in our day, Ronaldo referred to someone else, a fat Brazilian, as you called him, which is a little bit cruel. Remember when he arrived for the 2002 World Cup in Japan and made racist gestures with his eyes? He was that naive. Yeah.
I mean, the Brazilians are always funny. Like
Denilson.
Remember when the ball hit his knee and he was like, "Oh."
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of play acting goes on. I'm still not over the death of Maradona. We've still got time if anyone wants to get involved.
Just to add, they are investigating Maradona's doctor. Apparently,
what's the latest on Maradona's doctor?
Well,
I hope
they're investigating. They're thinking it's negligence or yes. So I don't know.
That's very sad. I mean, there's always going to be speculation. We know that Michael Jackson's doctor was accused of whatever it was.
Killing him.
I hope there's no underhandness, and hope Maradona can rest in peace as the absolute star he was. Give peace a chance is mentioning our friend Modine, who says the first look is allowed. I'm not sure what that's relating
meaning
to.
When you look at a girl, you can. The first one is okay, but when you turn away, you can't turn back. The second time that you look would be a sin. That's what he's trying to say.
He's found a loophole.
Modine.
I messaged Modine the other night on one of his live streams on Instagram, and he was saying we missed the old days.
He's becoming to hood rat kind of like.
He's right. He is who he is, and he is someone who's at ease with himself.
I rate him. I actually rate him. I know he's got the sheer knowledge much better than me. I can't deny it, and I've heard him, and he's Arabic linguistic, so he can actually read the Quran and obviously quote it as well. For me, I have to go research it and then show you and then tell you the references, whereas he's memorized it, so he's quite good.
How's your progression on the Hebrew language coming along?
There's actually a show called Tehran, which is great, and there's a bit of Hebrew, so they say kem means yes, yofi means good, and I'm learning a couple of words here and there.
Look, here we've got something just come in from Owen, who must have caught up with us. I'm not sure how well you'll see it on the screen.
That's what Thingy was talking about.
I'll share it on the community page on YouTube. So we got the Canaanites going all the way back to Baal worship. This is an ancient god that some people regard as the devil or Satan, Lucifer. Below them, you've got the pharaohs. And to the left, we go off to Rome, On the other side, we go to Judea and the Pharisees, who were their high priests. And below that, you've got Babylon and the Talmud. This is the Babylonian Talmud, the writings, which in the middle, you've got the Vatican. So one side Rome, other side Judea. From Rome, you get the Templars. From the Templars, you get the Masons. From the Templars, you also get the Swiss. I don't know what the Swiss have got to do with it. Chocolate and all that. And of course,
Swiss.
Great clockmakers. From that, you get the Illuminati. And all the way down, we go to USA. And it says 1776. Novus Ordo Seclorum.
1st of May.
New
Is that the 1st
World
of May?
Order or New Secular Order.
Is that the 14th of May or the 1st of May? Is that
doesn't say, Mac, but we can Google it.
I'm sure. Can someone find out if it was in
diagram? I'm going to share it on the page. Give Peace a chance of saying Mac said he noticed this. He noticed his wife first. That's what's got his attention. Oh, I think he's telling you that Modine said that, not that you noticed your wife. Have you noticed your wife yet, Mac? Or if you got married without noticing?
I haven't noticed her yet.
It's all right. She might have noticed you, though, possibly on this show.
Possibly.
You're getting more famous than me, man. I'm getting jealous. Joe Swanson, do you think the human race will end up as another layer of oil? Is that referring to fossils and fossil fuels?
Well, when you get buried,
another layer of oil.
Basically, when you get buried, eventually after years and years and years, your the ingredients in your body and with the soil converts into oil. Apparently, crude oil.
Really?
Yeah, so that's how it is. But we're talking centuries. Like right now, if we find fuel, it's probably dinosaur bones and that's how far back it goes.
I guess so.
But I'm just wondering, like the Earth, the Mother Earth, they say, like you keep draining petrol out of it. Eventually, it's like taking blood out of your body. It's going to get exhausted.
Well, they're banning petrol cars by the year 2040, 2030, 2050. But petrol cars will become a thing of the past.
Petrol's used for everything, though. It's used for everything, if you notice. You know that, right?
Is it really?
Yeah, they use petrol for everything. Like, petrol is a useful commodity. But going back to the Egyptian mythology, just to add about Thoth, the black magic and all of these started with. So now this is where I wanted to let Andre know that Andre McIntyre, obviously, that like Thoth, or other people that did the rituals, they started getting way into the artistry of magic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, when Jesus performed it, or when Solomon performs these sort of rituals, they do it with the knowledge of the higher power. So they are not committing the actual sin, even though they are doing the rituals, but they're not actually committing the sins, if that makes sense, because they are always in a
Fair enough.
So whereas Thoth, he believes he's a god. So now, like the lady, if you remember at the beginning of the when you played that thing, she was saying that you need to channel yourself to Thoth. This is how he thinks.
And that's where the word thought actually comes from. Thoth. I mean, that was amazing.
Well,
Owen Keeling is watching live now, which is great news. With 5 minutes to go, and the email address is lessons4life247@gmail.com, which I think someone might put in the chat. lessons4life247@gmail.com. Be great to see that image, and I will upload it on the community tab on the Lessons for Life channel. Salim Abulela is rather what's the word? Is another conspiracy theorist. Fossil fuels is just a term used to create the feeling of scarcity. Illuminati. Are you serious?
Maybe.
Is it not just because it comes from the ground? Or you think because fossils are rare and it's hard to find fossils, petrol is called fossil fuel, so we will think. Are you one of these people that thinks, hey, the oil is going to last forever? It will run out, you know.
That's what I was trying to say. I was saying, like the human body, if you keep taking out blood, eventually your body's just going to feel exhausted with no blood. It's the same as the earth. The earth has got its petrol inside. It needs it. Obviously, it creates it, and we keep draining it. And eventually, I'm sure the planet's going to get exhausted.
How do you say petrol in Farsi?
Benzene.
Benzene, same as Arabic. And what's nift? Nift is oil, is it?
Naft.
Sure where that comes
from. Naft. We say naft as well.
Naft, benzene.
We say gasoline as well.
Gasoline. Americans. Some of the stones inside the Giza pyramids could only be moved with modern cranes that were built in the last 20 years plus. Makes you wonder. It certainly does. I think they probably got help from aliens, didn't they?
Anunnakis. That's another thing that Bill Carlson actually talks about, is the Anunnakis coming from outer space. I don't know if they heard, they mentioned it as well. So they were extraterrestrial that came down, that changed from the Homo sapien, and they genetically modified our genes somehow. Apparently, that is the belief.
The Anunnaki. This is what we really want to hit home. The cross symbol that's been forced into that chap's mouth and is in the left hand of the lady on the right as we look at it, and the wolf man. That is known as the Ankh. And the Ankh could be related to the Anunnaki. That is the bombshell that I want to share with you this evening. I know we look at some of these words and I make fun when we say the devil means devalue, but I think the Anunnaki, and from them we got the Nephilim. They are portrayed as the gods or the daughters of God. They're aliens, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're aliens. They came down.
Have you heard of
they came down.
different types of humanoids? There's different types of humanoids, and one of them. Apparently, there's 7 types of humanoids.
And he was saying that they weren't Homo sapiens sapiens, which are these intelligent humans like us. Yeah. I think that the Adam and Eve story that some religious folk cling to so rigidly can actually be explained scientifically if we talk in terms of Adam being not the first humanoid, but the first human being in the way that we understand it, the first Homo sapien. And there would have been others. There would have been Australopithecus or Oscar Pistorius, whatever it was called, and the other ones that died out. What were they called, Mac?
Which ones again?
The humanoids that all died out.
Well, this is where David Icke would talk about the reptilians and
not the reptilians. I'm talking about the other hominid types.
Homo sapiens, you mean? Yeah, different.
Before that, the other hominids that died out. The Ankh is related to the handbags the Anunnaki hold. Okay, there you go. Give peace a chance. Maybe they use helicopters to move them. They are in some of their drawings. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci was designing helicopters a long time ago.
They were able to elevate things with sounds. They were masters of creating certain sounds to elevate. Apparently, this is Billy Carson. He's my reference, by the way.
Billy Carson.
So, this is where you realize in life, sound is a very important aspect, not only to communicate, but it has more power to it. Now, even when you look at the biblical terms, it says it started with the word, and the word was God. Yeah, and in Arabic, they say that God said "fakun," or if I'm saying it right,
"kun fayakun," be and it is,
and it is. So it was the sound vibration of God that created the Big Bang as well. So this is a very important aspect that we need to understand. So as I was trying to explain, so in wizardry or magic, when you spell or even symbols, when you put a symbol up, that creates an energy, whether it's negative or not. It depends on the symbol. But again, symbology. This is where how Thoth wrote the first book, and was the creator of writing, creator of language, and a creator of rituals. So the first book that was created was a ritual book by Thoth on how to cast spells or to create these energies. Now, they didn't worship a good god. They worshipped themselves, if that makes sense.
They worship themselves. How does that make sense?
Well, they believed themselves to be God because they had the certain abilities, the extrasensory perceptions or the extrasensory abilities. Which is
and
the channeling, the trance, and going into a state of trance. And when you actually do channel yourself, sometimes you can astral project, and this is where not only ayahuasca helps you to do that, perhaps, but there are also people that go to the deprivation tanks, and
sensory deprivation. Yeah, what does that mean?
Sensory deprivation.
I know the one you mean, and I've seen it on cartoons where you see most things where they're in the water tank, and you don't see anything, hear anything. You start to hallucinate, right? Is your mind filling in the blanks? Is that what it is?
Well, this is where I connect it to the olden days, because they had no technology to distract
the olden days. They were the best.
Yeah. So this is where they had that full concentration. This is where when you go into that deprivation tank, you not hallucinate, but sometimes you go into a trance or you channel yourself, and you realize there's a next. I mean, to give you an example, I know a CEO of a company that would go in there, and because they've been in there, they've kind of hit reality and thought, if I was to die. He realized, and he became, when he came out, he was a bit more humble. Apparently, it changes your views and changes your way. So even so, it depends on the state mind as well. So if you're going in there, you got to know what you're doing, and it's a form of meditation. But you're getting rid of all the 3D or 4D world that you're living in. So the ideology is to detach yourself from this reality. That's what the deprivation tank does, is detach all your senses from your eyes, your ears, your taste, your smell, your nose, all of that. You're in a tank and you don't see or hear anything. You're just with your inner being, which is your true essence, or your soul. That's where you can talk to yourself. You can look at your history. So these practices were done a lot by not just Thoth, but the old Egyptian rituals. This is how they perceive themselves to be God, because they had certain abilities.
Amazing. Owen Keeling is mentioning levitation, gold mining through vibration. We did talk about people pursuing the creation of precious metals with.
Well, that was alchemy.
What was the alchemy? Yeah, alchemy.
Alchemy is
the Arabic word.
Trying to change the gold and silver to gold. But that should be in the book as well.
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions here. The gold was stolen to fix their planet to make it livable again. The slaves created to mine the gold. Salem Abulela. Mac and Julian, what are your opinions on the theory of the pyramids being built by aliens? I may have come into the conversation late, but Julian, do you converse in Arabic? I try very badly. I do try and speak a little bit of Arabic. What do you think about aliens? دردشنا بالعربي
we should get Salim to call up. Salim, call up if you want. The numbers at the bottom.
Salim, you're welcome on here. Salim Abu Layla. I wonder if he is from North Africa.
We can discuss this.
What's the largest mammal you think you could knock out with a single punch? Now we're getting the
It depends.
esoteric questions.
Are we talking about Tyson or are we talking like McGregor?
The largest mammal that you or me could knock out
Me.
with a single punch. I don't know. We mustn't be unkind to animals. The only animal you should ever punch is someone attacking you or an opponent that has consented to go at it in the ring or the octagon.
They used to do that in the olden days in the Roman arena. They used to fight against lions and stuff.
That's right. That's
for
right.
entertainment.
Yeah. Salam, you're being very kind. I know Max speaks some Arabic and fluent in Farsi. You two are providing a lot of value. Thank you so much, guys. Salam, shukran jazilan. Jazakumullah khairan. Really, the value is only if people find value in it, and you are the audience. You are keeping us going. We appreciate that. It's me, so it is amazing resonance experiment. YouTube.
Oh, now you're going on to
God's
Sheldrick.
word lol. Yeah.
Sheldrick was the one.
It's me, so it is. Must be from the north of Ireland to use that expression. Just from the name.
What does OHM mean?
Ohm is a measurement of electricity, is it not? Ohms, like volts and amps and ohms.
Okay.
But does it have a deeper meaning than that? Most things do. 33X is saying Max speaks Urdu too. He must be part Pakistani.
I don't really. I only know Baijan and Acha.
Baisab, Tika. We're multilingual on this channel because we've got the,
I don't really speak
the
Urdu,
ancient wisdom of the Tower of Babel. Now, I love it when we learn new words and new languages on here. And Salim Abu Layla is saying he is half Pakistani, half Afghan. I don't know if that's referring to you or me.
You just said you speak
X
Arabic.
is saying probably half Bengali also.
Bengali.
Why not? Throw it in there.
It's
me, so it is. It's saying kills your ego, apparently, or we could say in Arabic, the nafs.
He's talking about the deprivation tanks. So the CEO goes in, and then they come out, and his ego is not as the same as it was when he went in,
and he doesn't boss around the new kid anymore. Bill Fence is saying half shape-shifting lizard. There you go. The reptilians. We've got the reptilians tonight. Owen Keeling. The jinn could be reptilian. Owen Keeling, who's caught up, is saying the fall of Atlantis was the height of Satya Yuga, the golden age. We have now left Kali Yuga into Dwarpa Yuga, and also the age of Aquarius. This is getting back to the
astrology,
the zodiac, the astrology. And Linda Burrows is saying it's a Buddhist chant. Not sure what is a Buddhist chant, but yeah, we will eventually get to the bottom of all this. We will bring it all together. We'll find out where Buddhism meets Christianity. Who is Maitreya? The Buddhists are waiting for this Maitreya Buddha.
I've heard Jesus went to visit Buddha when he was 12 or something. Have you heard this or not?
Probably heard it on this show. I wonder what language this Satya Yuga and Kali Yuga means. I mean, Kali is Greek for good, is it not? Kalispera, Kalinichta, good day, good night.
Kali, Kali in Greek, you're saying, yeah?
I think so. And of course, California means beautiful flowers, something like that.
Yeah.
California, landscape. Om, like a monk. Okay, as in Om, as in the first word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And correct. Is it any coincidence that this resonating word that the Buddhist chant sounds a bit like the word for mother in Arabic, and the one of the first words or sounds that we were able to make as infants is often the word for mother in many languages, mum. How do you say mother in Persian, Mac?
Mama.
Mama, there you go. I've just proved myself correct. Linda Burrows is saying it's a Buddhist mantra. You can measure in Om resistance. Owen Keeling, Kali within Hinduism is the mother that turns into a demon to protect its child. Okay, Kali is a mother goddess. Pete R. Griff is saying California has good fruits. That's good to know. And Bill Fence is confirming what I thought about the Greek. Well, it's all Greek to me. We're going to have to do a whole night on etymology, Mac, and our favorite meanings. Like I told you before, this originally the idea behind this channel was meant to be those little aha moments when we realize, oh, means mother, means om, means resonating, and we sort of bring it all together, joining the dots, as some people.
But again,
like
notice the sound vibration is again, as I said to you, the Big Bang started with the word, and the word was God. So again, it's sound vibration. When you're umming, you're creating this vibration sound. So again, there is something to it.
And Linda Burrows is saying it's Vedic Sanskrit, not Greek.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the Vedas would have been written in Sanskrit. And what does Sanskrit mean? I think it means without something.
It's the old. It's the cuneiform. It's the cuneiform form of writing. There was a Sanskrit.
Of course, it's the ancient version of Hindu, of Hindi rather, but from Samskrita, composed, elaborated, from Sam together, Kur to make, and the past participle. Okay, it's from composed and make. So it's not to do with without. I was thinking sans means without, like Comic Sans, but that's a different. It's a different thing altogether. Peter R. Griff is saying dogs are nice until they are not. That's good, bro. It's me, so it is. Yeah, you can watch videos on frequency that visualize different frequency sound waves using salt. Very cool. Yeah, different notes, different sounds.
Can I just say
different patterns? Yeah.
Talking about frequencies, and I mean, Nicholas Tesla was one of the people that always talked about frequencies. Now, whether it be sound or electrical frequency. But did you know? Do you know the war about the DC and AC fight, where Edison had to kill an elephant to try and say that the electricity that Nikola Tesla was harnessing was harmful. So he used it on an elephant, and it killed the elephant. And did you know this history? Yeah, or not?
No, but remind me.
Yeah. So basically, this is how Nicholas Tesla patented a lot of things that we use now, but at the time, Edison was getting the credit for everything, for creating the light bulb, for doing everything.
Some names get erased. I've got a great image from Owen Keeling here. This is Kali, the goddess of time creation. Look at that.
Oh yeah. That looks a bit like Shiva.
Again, yeah, it does. Yeah, I'll share that in the community tab. I appreciate that, Owen, very much. And I don't know if anyone watches this guy called the Secular Jihadist. He loves to go around upsetting religious people. He's been portraying Kali in an inappropriate way to sort of upset the Hindus, because he wants to show that he doesn't just upset Muslims, he upsets all religious people. Owen Keeling's saying that Tesla might have been an alien. And Pete R. Griff, who seems to just think out loud and type it out, saying California has a lot of homeless people. I'm sure you're right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Are they from America? I don't know. I mean, I've never been to America.
We don't know. It's been one hell of a show. We've gained a lot of new friends tonight, and I really appreciate that. If you're watching us for the first time, if you're watching us on Facebook, you're welcome, but find us on YouTube. YouTube is where it really is all happening. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel.
Thumbs up.
We will see you on Friday for a more focused approach. This has been Lessons for Life, and we'll do it all again soon. We were here, and we are gone.